The new iPads are here, and Apple's ripping people off again because that's what they do. So if you want to buy the new iPad, you have to buy all new accessories, basically because none of your old stuff will work with it anymore if you get the Pro Series model. Talking about the Magic Keyboard, talking about the new Apple Pencil Pro on top of your $1,299 13-inch iPad Pro. But anyway, we're going to talk more about it. Before we get into that, I do want to say if this is your first time stopping by the channel, thank you for being here. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. Now let's talk about Apple shenanigans. I think we all know at this point, when it comes to Apple, they're going to do everything they possibly can to try and squeeze more money out of you needlessly. At least that's the way that I feel. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel, and that's a great thing about opinions. We're all entitled to them. So if you have a different opinion, well, you can feel that way, and that's fine. So a couple of changes. I have the 2021 iPad Pro, the 12.9 inch, and there's a couple of things that they've kind of done with this new one that irk me. Well, for one, we've got the OLED screen finally. It took them 14 years of iPads before we finally got an OLED screen and an iPad, and it's only in the Pro model, which costs a lot of money. I mean, we're looking at $1,299 for the new 13-inch. So they bumped it up from 12.9 to 13. Well, they made some changes. They have the new camera arrangement. So you have the camera on the inside. Instead of having the top orientation, it's over on the side. They copied Samsung, and I think they finally realized, hey, if people are going to use this like a laptop with the screen sideways, it makes more sense to have a webcam or a camera that appears up top on the screen. I think that makes sense. Well, we know that on the side is where the Apple Pencil Generation 2 has been charging. You can't do that anymore. So what they've done is they've moved that. You can't charge your Apple Pencil with it anymore. So that means the Apple Pencil Generation 2 that you've probably been using with your iPad for the last couple of years no longer works. You can use the USB-C Apple Pencil that they came out with last year. That one will work because you can charge that with USB-C, but you can't use the Apple Pencil Generation 2. So if you are like me and you have a 2021, you have the previous generation that has the M2 in it, your stuff's obsolete. So not only can you not use the Apple Pencil Generation 2, you can't use your Magic Keyboard. You got to buy an all-new one. So if you want to buy this new iPad Pro with the M4, you've got to go ahead and buy the new Magic Keyboard, which is like $350 for the larger size. You got to spend $129 for the Apple Pencil Pro, which is cool. It's got the vibration, the haptics. It's got the barrel roll feature and some different things that you can do with it. I would like that. But of course, it's not backwards compatible with the previous iPads, which I think is stupid because all the hardware is in the Pencil. So if the additional capabilities are in the Pencil, it probably would, or they probably could have gone the extra mile to make it work with the previous generation iPad, but that's how Apple works. You can't use it. You got to use your old one. If you want to get the new Apple Pencil, you have to buy the new $1,000 plus iPad Pro so you can take advantage of it. So there's no backwards compatibility with the Apple Pencil Pro going backwards, and there's no legacy support for the Apple Pencil Generation 2. So that's kind of annoying. And then the same thing with the Magic Keyboard. If you have a Magic Keyboard that you paid $350 plus tax for your M2, your M1 iPad Pro, you're up the creek. You got to spend that too. So if you want to get the whole package, you're looking at the base model 13-inch iPad Pro, $1,299. And then $350 for the keyboard on top of that, and then $129 for the pencil on top of that. You're getting close to $2,000. That is a ton of money. Instead of just being able to buy the iPad and then take advantage of using your previous stuff, they've made it all obsolete with the new generation of iPad Pro stuff, which really pisses me off because it's needless. This is just a typical example of how Apple will continue to rip people off by making you have to do this. So like, oh, well, we'll charge them out the wazoo for the new hardware, but then we'll make it where their old stuff doesn't work with it. So then they got to spend an extra $500-$600 on top of that just to be able to use the new iPad or iPad Pro. And what really irks me, if you take a look at the iPad Air, and the iPad Air is nice. It's always been a little bit more performance, but a little less bells and whistles. And I've never really had too much of a problem with that. But if you take a look at the new iPad Air, it has the M2. Which the M2 is a fantastic chip. Very good, very powerful. It's what's in the Apple Vision Pro. So it's very capable, but then you have a 60 hertz screen. the Retina display LCD. So you've got the older screen, which they've been milking for years. It's still only 60 hertz, and the iPad Air still starts with 128 gigabytes of storage. So you're supposed to do serious work on there, and they give you the M2, but then they basically make it as basic as possible by giving you the lower quality screen. They give you 128 gigabytes of storage for your $600 purchase and a 60 hertz screen. I just bought a 2023 Motorola Moto G stylus that I paid $109 for on Amazon, brand new in the box, and it has 90 hertz. I feel like there's got to be some fair compromise there. If you take a look at any serious developer or any serious hardware in the phone or the tablet department for the last 5 years, 90 hertz, 120 hertz has been the standard, and yet Apple still drags their feet behind and sells you yesteryear's technology at tomorrow's prices and then makes everything incompatible with it. Like, I don't think you can even use the Apple Pencil Generation 2 with the new iPad Air. And then adding more insult to injury. So they have this new, it's like nano coating, this anti-reflective for the iPad Pro. It's pretty neat stuff. It's very similar to what you get with the S24 Ultra. So I have my S24 Ultra here, and we know they've got the anti-reflective stuff on the screen. So it makes it where, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So if you've got a non-reflective, if you have a regular reflective screen, see, look how bright that is. Like, that's pretty bright. And then this is the anti-reflective screen protector. Look at how much more dim and less reflective that is. So Apple has ripped that off with their new iPad Pros, but here's the kicker. You can only get it if you pay for the 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte option. It's not available on the 256. It's not available on the 512. Let's look at the price on that, because I can't remember all these prices off the top of my head. So if we go look at it, the nano texture glass says available in models with 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes of storage, and then it costs extra money. So let's click on 1 terabyte, $18.99, and then they charge you an extra $100 for that coating on top of that. So for you to get the anti-reflective nano coating, entry model for the 13-inch iPad Pro is $19.99. $19.99. And then on top of that, you still got to buy the new Magic Keyboard. It's like, what, $350, and then the new Apple Pencil is $129. So you're basically looking at $2,500 plus tax. That comes out to about close to $2,800. That is insane. It's a tablet. And we know that in most ways it's an inferior experience to an actual MacBook. Just go get a MacBook Air. Go get an M3 MacBook Air for like, what, low 1,000 something dollars, and you can do absolutely everything that you'd be able to do with the iPad Pro without the touchscreen. So it's just ridiculous how they do this stuff, and then they charge you out the rear for everything. I mean, so they start you off at $256 on the iPad Pro, $12.99 for the 13-inch, and then $512, they charge you additional $200. Storage, this costs them like $1 maybe to go from $256 to $512, yet they charge you $200. $200, yet you still can't get the nano coating, which is one of the new features that you get with it, and they took away a camera. So we previously had 2 cameras on the back, now they give you 1 camera on the back. So we're short a camera, extra $100 for the nano coating, but you got to bump up to the 1 terabyte and pay $18.99. So basically $2,000 for the nano coating. Then you can't use your Apple Pencil Generation 2. You can't use your previous Magic Keyboard, and none of that stuff's backward compatible. You can't be like, oh, you know what? I would love to have that extra features of the Apple Pencil Pro, and you can't use it with your previous one. So it's like you're either all in or you're all out. And if you want to upgrade, but here's the thing, I don't really think you need to upgrade. I have the M1 iPad Pro, and it's been phenomenal for me, and I can still edit video and stuff. But here's the thing, though. If you're going to do like some, I guess, CAD work, if you can even do that on an iPad, if you're going to do some serious graphics design or serious video editing stuff like professional level, like mini streams of 4K video and all that stuff, then I could see that, but then you're limited because the max you can get is 2 terabyte, and then they're going to charge you out the rear for that. So, I mean, if you wanted to have a 1 terabyte tablet that you could edit your videos on the go, and I think that's very fair. It's funny because when the original iPad Pro with the M1 came out, we all thought, oh, we're going to finally get Final Cut Pro, and then it didn't happen for 2 more years later. which is funny. So we all played ourselves back then. But I will admit, having Final Cut Pro on the tablet is nice. It's perfectly fine for me. I don't do anything crazy. But when you take a look at it, though, the 256 gigabytes of storage for $12.99, that needs to go away. If you're going to call something a Pro Series anything, it needs to have at least 512. I don't know how they're still getting away with this in 2024, charging you that much money, only giving you 256, and then calling it a Pro. What are you going to do with that? How many videos are you going to edit on Final Cut Pro? Like 1, 2? Like, there's nothing you're really going to be able to do with that Pro level, because the storage is just not nearly enough. And it's fixed storage, so you're kind of screwed. So you have to really buy a larger one. I really don't recommend anything less than the 512 if you plan on doing video editing, and that's really as like a secondary. Do it while you're traveling on the road, like laying in bed or something. There are benefits to it, though. The M4, fantastic, amazing, super powerful chip, but you still don't even have a calculator. I mean, I know this is a running joke, but how do we still have these over $1,000 tablets that Apple makes and they don't even have a native calculator app? It's like the dumbest thing ever in the history of mankind. Other than their policies and how they treat their customers and make you spend an arm and a leg every time they have something new that comes out. And then, I don't know, it just irks me. I know some people are like, oh, it's just how Apple does business. It's capitalism. Nobody cares about 60 hertz. They don't care about the 120. We'll just give them 60. Nobody cares if it's an LCD. Nobody cares if it's an OLED. You know, Samsung's been using OLEDs for over a decade. And now you finally have it in the really expensive, only the Pro model level of the iPad. I just find that very ironic. But anyway, so those are my complaints. You can agree with them, you cannot agree with them, but I just think that it's terrible. And it's just crazy to me how we have this company, Apple, who are like, oh, we're going to take the charging brick out of all of our phones because we're going to save the environment because there's billions of chargers out there. And then they invent like new charging methods they charge you 3 times as much money for. And then they make 3 different versions of the tablet. And then they make 4 different Apple Pencils that aren't compatible with the other tablets. And they make so much stuff obsolete and useless. They're probably the biggest drivers of e-waste in the history of mankind. All under the guise and hiding behind like, oh, we're doing things for the environment. And that's why we took your charger brick out. No, they're just screwing you and making you making you pay more money for different options. So anyway, that's all I got. If you have any questions, gripes, complaints, concerns about my mental health, whatever, you can go to the comments section. But that's my thoughts on it. If you enjoyed the video, if you like this stuff, hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys next time.